Yes! 1,000 times yes. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another NASCAR Diecast review here today. And guys, I finally got them. I only got 3 of them right now, which are the 2020 NASCAR Diecast, and 2 of them are very similar to last year's, but one of them I decided to get, which is Kyle Busch, the Interstate Battery Sorter. That seemed kind of cool. And I also got over here, which is Brett Moffitt's 2019 Plan B Sales truck that he raced at Daytona. Guys, let's just get this thing going. So here is the first diecast in this review. This is the 2019 Brett Moffitt Plan B Sales Chevrolet Silverado. Holy crap, what a truck. I've been actually really wanting this truck for such a long time, and man, this thing is a beauty. So here is the Chevrolet Silverado nose, what they're currently running, but this is a 2019 model of the Chevrolet Silverado. There's Plan B Sales on the hood. Actually, this is kind of cool. This is actually like my first Plan B Sales diecast, actually, which is really, really awesome. So here is the left side of the truck here. Not too many paint chips, not too shabby. There's the roof of the truck there. The bed of the truck, and as well as the tailgate, and the world to the back. And here's the right side of the truck, same side as the left. And that is it for Brett Moffitt. On to the next diecast, which is going to go into 2020. We're going to go over Kevin Harvick's Jimmy John's Ford Mustang. So here's the next diecast here, which we got the 2020 Kevin Harvick Jimmy John's Ford Mustang. So about this car, the same as the 2019 diecast. We're going to go over and actually compare them. So here is the noses basically of the two. And it seemed like on the, let's just actually go, let's see here on the, well, yeah, technically just no difference really. But what happened to this year's 2020 diecast, they've actually taken away one sponsor. You can definitely figure that out. So I zoom back a little bit of ways. If you guys would like to pause the video, you can find the difference between this. So right on the 2019 card, it actually has Busch, and the 2020 does not. And as well for the 2020, it actually has NASCAR Cup Series on there. So there's that. And actually, for the 2019, it actually has Mobile 1 on the seat post. And the 2020 actually has, oh, well, it actually is different. Pretty much the Mobile 1 is a little bit different on that, on the 2020 diecast. And there's the roof basically for both diecast. Here is the deck one in the back here. So if you kind of can tell basically the difference in the back, there's actually the Mobile 1 that actually, for the 2020 diecast, it became a little bit smaller. So that's what kind of happened there with that. Then we're going to go over the right side of the diecast, same side as the left, basically for both years. Besides the Busch logo that was actually taken off for the 2020, and the 2019 actually has that. And there's no Cup Series sponsor on the 2019 card as of that. But that is it right there, basically between the 2020 and the 2019 Kevin Harvick cars. That's the comparison to the two. And we're going to go on to the next car, which is the 2020 ARIC ALMIROLA Smithfield Ford Mustang. So here's the next car right here. This is ARIC ALMIROLA's 2020 Smithfield Ford Mustang. And there's actually a little bit of differences in between this. We cut out some sponsors and the size of the sponsor and whatnot. So we're going to go and actually compare it with the 2019 car. So so technically on the front end we had the Mustang logo. It's actually on the 2020 a little bit smaller than the 2019 logo there. And actually you have a little bit more white on the bumper there for the 2020 car than the 2019. And we're going to go over the front. Nothing necessary changed besides just, you know, whatever it is. So nothing has changed there. So we have the left side of the diecast now. For the 2019, we're going to go over it. So there's no NASCAR Cup Series logo on that. And it actually on the C post right there, it says I think it's Valley Tech right there. Sorry about that. That was just really bad camera focusing there. And on the C post of the 2020 diecast, we have the NASCAR Cup Series logo and as well as the Mobile 1 logo. And it's kind of what they're doing for 100 Motorsports. It actually has a paint chip on there. And a paint chip of the 10. Not necessarily want to do too many criticism things on that. But however, there's actually a little bit of changes down here with the right down here, actually near the, this is actually the left rear fender here. There's some sponsors there having Nathan's and Eckridge right down there with some other ones down there as well. And on the 2019, not necessarily have as much. It did not have Nathan's or Eckridge right down there on the rear fender as well. So that is basically just the left side of the diecast there, basically for both years. Here's the roof for both diecast. Kind of really cool with this is that the fact that for every team they actually try to differentiate the car. They want to kind of keep the same thing, but a little bit differences between the sizes of the sponsor, at which they just try to trick you on that. So I'm really definitely going to basically identify basically what is new and what is not. So here is the decorator in the back. Nothing much changed besides the back. I think on, well, as of 2020, we had the Mobile 1 there, and on the 2019 here, there's nothing back there. So it has Mobile 1 right on the back end of the car. It looked like the bumper part of the car. There is the right side, same side as the left. And there it is right there, ladies and gentlemen, basically for both the comparisons for Storehouse race cars of Kevin Harvick and Eric ALMIROLA for the 2020 cars, comparing them to the 2019. We're going to go over now to Kyle Busch's Interstate Batteries Toyota, and that'll be the final car to review. So here's the final car here on the diecast review. We got the 2020 Kyle Busch Interstate Batteries Toyota, and wow, some major changes here, ladies and gentlemen. No more green Zebra Interstate Batteries car, because this year we got Green Lightning. How about that? I'm going to call this car Green Lightning. This is just really cool. I definitely, I wanted the M&M's car really bad, but I decided basically to get this car because it just seems really cool, and it just, wow, something about it just looks really, really amazing. Just, it's very bright, vibrant green. And this car actually came about in the NASCAR Heat Pro Series League and such around that time. And here it is right here, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Kyle Busch car where there's the Camry nose with Interstate Batteries on the hood. Kyle Busch Interstate Batteries car has changed, ladies and gentlemen, big time here with the Green Lightning. So here is the left side of the diecast with the NASCAR Cup Series logo, and as well as the contingencies getting very, very small this year. There's actually legitimately almost no contingencies. All the contingencies have actually moved to the left front bumper, as you can see, to where the Sunoco is. They actually moved them all there and left the NASCAR Cup Series logo just sitting there. So there's the left side of the diecast. There is the roof. Then here is the decorator in the back. What's kind of new with the Toyota is they actually have this red Toyota symbol right there, as you guys can tell. They did that actually. They started that. They actually started that in the playoffs, to what I actually know about, which was really cool. And here is the right side of the diecast here, same side as the left. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for the NASCAR diecast review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'm actually going to talk about something really, kind of briefly of what I think about NASCAR iRacing and such, and iRacing in general. So that is it for reviewing diecast, but we're going to go into a topic I want to talk about for a minute. And just, it won't necessarily take too long, so I'm just going to give you guys my thoughts about what's been going on for the past several weeks. So now I'm going to talk about the NASCAR iRacing stuff of what's been going on in the several weeks. Just kind of, briefly of how I feel about it. I'm not going to go really in depth of stuff, like Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson. I don't necessarily want to talk to him and talk about him in this video, but a lot of you guys basically feel really, you guys probably do feel sympathy basically for those two drivers, especially Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson. Well, especially Kyle Larson, if there's any big Kyle Larson fans. But Bubba Wallace, he kind of got his situation kind of solved here. So I'm just going to talk about what's been going on since iRacing's been a big hit so far, and no other sports can really do this. It's just right now iRacing and NASCAR in general has been kind of the only sport going around, which is really good. But for me as a fan, I really like that NASCAR drivers basically are busy still. They're still actually they're still having a racing mindset in them, which is a very good thing. And I like that for the drivers. They still get to be busy. They're not necessarily on their off time and whatnot, you know, dilly-dallying around and such like that and so forth. But about the Pro Invitational Series that they made, it started back in Homestead, and the first race was actually really interesting. It had William Byron, Garrett Smithley, Timmy Hill, and as well as Denny Hamlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I think some parts of Landon Castle as well. And Hunter Nemechek, they actually were on there. They were on the front of the field at that time in that race, and that was actually really good, a really good finish. Though I know Hamlin, Denny Hamlin, man. I mean, I have to accept him as a race car driver. I have to accept him really that he's in NASCAR, and I have to just watch him. You know, I have to accept that. There's no other option around. I can't not like. I can't just freaking hate Denny Hamlin what he did. Denny Hamlin won that Homestead race, and I know in the way that Dale Jr. was trying to get there and get beat Denny Hamlin. Jr. gave him the outside line, and Jr. was trying to do everything he can. He actually tried doing side drafting, or else just slow Denny Hamlin down by beating him on the side, and which Hamlin actually got the greater good of that, and that cost Dale Jr. to go to the bottom of the racetrack. But the first race, what I thought about was actually really entertaining. I know there's a lot of wrecks and such like that, and I just kind of felt like Timmy Johnson was being a pleb, only because he had his sim rig actually the wrong type of sim rig. He was using his IndyCar sim rig, which you don't do that. That's not very, very good. So you go with the sim rig that kind of that correlates to NASCAR. So about the Pro Invitational Series, what's been going on? It's been going on on a weekly basis, and kind of how I feel about that. It just doesn't necessarily seem as exciting anymore because there's no necessary hype in there, especially really with this race at Richmond. It was just silly. The last several races, basically, like Bristol and Richmond for sure, the short tracks were just very, very silly. I just didn't like them. But Talladega is coming up, and I'm really bummed out at the fact that the real-life Talladega race is postponed. I really hate that. So much. I really, really wanted to see that race. Gosh, I wanted to see it without fans. I feel like if you have that happen, there'd be going to be a lot of ratings. And I guess, for NASCAR and such, there is ratings, but it kind of seems it's been kind of on a down spiral since all the stuff like Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace and such like that, and so many bad things has happened to the sim, on iRacing and whatnot. It's just kind of, I feel like the ratings are dropping. I don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily know how the ratings are going on, but for sure, I just feel like that iRacing stuff, it's just really getting old. And, I want to have real life cars back on the racetrack and such, and maybe a race without any fans. I hope to God they could do this. They actually predict that they're going to get back on track with no fans at Charlotte and they go close 600. But I want to kind of see it earlier. I want to just kind of have NASCAR, or else just teams and everybody just take risks, because I feel like if you just grab the healthiest people that are not necessarily affected by this, then yeah, you could show up the racetrack. It is possible to have a race. I know the big teams are going to be really necessarily not affected by it, but the small teams are really going to be affected by it because they don't necessarily have as much resources or as parts and stuff like that to build cars. I do think the race shops are closed, just as of that. But if we get back racing maybe sooner than Charlotte, I would really like to see that. But otherwise, that's just kind of how I feel about the iRacing deal and everything like that. I'm just really kind of getting not as excited really anymore. But I'll keep on watching NASCAR. I'll keep on watching and such to see if stuff happens and maybe drivers may get better on it. And that, William Byron and Tim Hill and Landon Castle and the guys that are really good at iRacing they're legitimately at the top of their game on iRacing. But the guys that really need to improve a lot are it's like the Jimmy Johnsons, Kurt Busch, and some other guys like Ryan Preece and Clint Boyer. Definitely, Clint Boyer definitely needs to get better on it. I guess his sim is on. It's at the Fox Sports Studio, so he can't necessarily go there all the time. But yeah, actually, Dale Jr. is awesome. Dale Jr. is really, really good at it as well. But anyways. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this Nascar Diecast video and a little bit of talk about kind of how I feel. Keep on fighting a good fight, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Signing out, everybody.